Hey, we missed you at the game last week. Is everything all right?
Yeah. Just haven't been feeling like me lately.
Well, I'm here for you, right?
That's a cut. Beautiful. Acting is one thing. Talking about suicide in real life is another.
In the military, you take challenges head on.
And now it's your turn to do the same for our veterans.
Be there.
Learn how you can start the conversation at BeThereForVeterans.com.
Oh, I am grateful to have been loved and to be loved now and to be able to love, because that liberates. Love liberates. It doesn't just hold. That's ego. Love liberates. When my son was born, I was 17. My mother had a huge house, 14-room house. At 17, I went to her and said, I'm leaving. She asked me, you're leaving my house? And she had live-in help. I said, yes. I found a job, and I've got a room with cooking privileges down the hall, and the landlady will be the babysitter. She asked me, you're leaving my house? I said, yes, ma'am, and you're taking the baby? I said, yes. She said, all right, remember this. When you step over my door sill, you've been raised. You know the difference between right and wrong. Do right. Don't let anybody raise you and make you change. And remember this, you can always come home. I went home every time life slammed me down, made me call it uncle. I went home with my baby. My mother never once acted as I told you so. She said, oh, baby's home. Oh, my darling, Mama's going to cook you something. Mother's going to make this for you. Love. She liberated me to life. She continued to do that. When my son may have been 5 years old, my mother would pick him up all the time and feed him. I went to her once a week, and she would cook for me. So one day I went to her house, and she'd cooked red rice, which I loved. After we finished eating, we walked down the hill, and she started across the street. She said, wait a minute, baby. I was 22 years old. She said, wait a minute, baby. You know, I think you're the greatest woman I've ever met. She said, Mary McLeod Bethune, Eleanor Roosevelt, and my mother. You're in that category. Then she said, give me a kiss. I gave her a kiss, and I got onto the streetcar. I can remember the way the sun fell on the slats of the wooden seats. I sat there and I thought about her. I thought, suppose she's right. She's intelligent. And she says she's too mean to lie. So suppose I am going to be somebody. She released me. She freed me to say I may have something in me that would be of value. Maybe not just to me. That's love. When she was in her final sickness, I went out to San Francisco. And the doctor said she had three weeks to live. I asked her, would you come to North Carolina? She said yes. She had emphysema and lung cancer. I brought her to my home. She lived for a year and a half. And when she was finally, in extremis, she was on oxygen. And fighting cancer for her life. And I remembered her liberating me. And I said, I hope I'll be able to liberate her. She deserved that from me. She deserved a great daughter, and she got one. So in her last days, I said, now, I understand that some people need permission to go. As I understand it, you may have done what God put you here to do. You were a great worker. You must have been a great lover. There's a lot of men, if I'm not wrong, maybe a couple of women risk their lives to love you. You were a piss poor mother of small children. You were a great mother of young adults. And if you need permission to go, I liberate you. I went back to my house, and somebody said, go back. I was in my pajamas. I jumped in my car, and the nurse said, she's just gone. You see, love liberates. It doesn't bind. Love says, I love you. I love you if you're in China. I love you if you're across state. I love you if you're in Harvard. I love you. I would like to be near you. I'd like to have your arms around me. I'd like to hear your voice in my ears. But that's what a gospel about. So I love you. Come. Working me. She working me. Urging me. If you urging me. Always looking for
Hello, my name is Tyjuen. Welcome to African
I'm an ice cruncher, so I was excited about Colgate Total. It has sensitivity relief, so I don't have to give up doing what I love. Aren't we lucky? Colgate Total. Do more for your whole mouth.
Hello, my name is Tyjuen, and welcome to African American. As I quietly stepped into the elevator and gently pushed the L button to return to the lobby, the incredible blessing I just experienced held me spellbound. On the elevator ride down, I pondered the glimpse into history just shared with me by the legendary Miss Coretta Scott King. During her last days of health and vitality, we had enjoyed a lunch in her elegant Atlanta penthouse suite, where she lived during her elder years with dignity and class. As we dined, Miss King retold many of her amazing experiences from the bird's eye perspective of her deepest reflections. The memories she shared were moments I had witnessed only through newsreels and history books. She guided me down a hallway decorated with gripping images reflecting a life on the edge of death, yet illuminated passion and conviction. We shared it what it was like during her years with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., including many moments of peril. As she recalled heart wrenching experiences, she spoke with the compassion of a mother, somehow everyone's mother, and not just the mother of her four enigmatic, intriguing progeny. One of the many topics we discussed that day was a piercing question I posed, a subject considered taboo by many. I asked her why she never remarried. Before responding, she looked at me as if my question was actually rather foolish. Miss King smiled and almost giggled when she responded, Martin was a tough act to follow. Indeed, he must have been. Few men have ever affected the culture, the country, and the world as Dr. King did. But what she did next took my breath away. I was called to be his wife, she said. It was my destiny to stand beside him. This woman, whose legendary singing voice merited a career of its own, whose speaking skills and intellect qualified her for many roles, clearly perceived her destiny. Miss King could have been anything she wanted, from university president to entrepreneur. Yet, she chose to support the civil rights movement, underscoring the mission and keeping alive the dream of her martyred husband. She shared so many experiences about her life. Little did I realize that she actually was reflecting on them from the posture of her imminent demise. Only in retrospect did I consider her small plate of slowly consumed fruits and her contentment watching me enjoy the ample offering of culinary delights prepared for me. Her contented smile betrayed the gravity of her condition, which I knew to be a battle with cancer, and one she would shortly lose. Or did she really lose at all? Her smile taught me the value of contentment with a life well lived, a life that had run its course. Coretta Scott King lived comforted by her belief that despite the turbulence in her journey, she had lived on course with a destiny far more important than the waves of grief and tumult she experienced in her life. And in the murder of her husband, she was at peace. If only you and I could replace her resolve in our own lives. Could it be that we allow the conditions in our lives to distract us from the meaning of our lives? Is it possible that we don't spend enough time checking the dials and reading the compass of destiny and its interesting pull on the human soul? If we are wise, we will see the president purpose we were created for, predestined purpose we were created for, and in our belief and our brief lifespan, find it and do it. It is my hope that each of us will be free from the purposeless living that causes so many to stumble aimlessly through life. Like Miss King, we all are created to fulfill some role only through which we can find the great elixir of contentment and courage. Whatever the assignment, death loses its license to threaten those who are certain. We have lived before we face its clutching grasp. As the elevator descended the 39 stories to the lobby, I reflected on the fact that I too had lived a life to which I felt drawn. I have been pulled by a call that has drawn me from the mundane acquisition of life's mementos to the far more rewarding task of doing something with my life that only I could uniquely accomplish. My name is Tyjuen, and thank you so much for tuning in to African American. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. A time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and sleep. I think defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity. You can pull me down. So if you care to find Look to the western skies. If someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to fly. And if I'm flying so low, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me. How I am defying gravity. Keep flying high, I'm defying gravity, and the mission's in know. Nobody, all of us, whispers that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me down. Bring me down, not to bring her. Oh.
Trips that you plan for the next whole week.
Ready.
It's so awful, so cheap, being flex so deep, sex so deep. Got it,
One,
got it.
two, three.
Yes, ma'am. Caregivers. And feel like it's an obligation. Like I feel an obligation to my family, to my children, and it's me pushing more than they're pushing. And it scares me because I need to nurture myself. I've had a huge weight loss, and I feel like if I don't take that time to spend an hour a day exercising, I'll be back to comforting myself in other ways to make up for all that I give throughout the day.
One of the things I would say to you is you'll need to find your own sense of balance. How many people in this audience would have loved a mother who took such good care of herself that she felt great all the time? I mean, of course.
Yeah.
That's what we want. That's what we want to bring us up.
Because how many of you grew up with mothers who were worn out all the time? Yes. Worn out and tired and didn't have the time for you because they couldn't, because they didn't do that for
and
themselves.
Angry.
Yes, and resentful.
Yes.
And resentful.
Yes.
And just trying to get through all the time.
You know, it's such a fine boundary as far as being selfish and being given. But I think if we can look at it that when we learn to set those boundaries, what's underneath that is so beautiful. We can make those choices, the sacrificial choices that, you know, we are giving that extra bit, but it comes out of an authentic place.
Yeah.
And not only does it bless us, it blesses that person because they know that about
because it comes from love instead of obligation.
Yeah. Look at how many of you raised your hands when Cheryl asked that question. How many of you would have wanted a mother who'd taken enough care of herself that she could have had? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because my mother never took care of herself. Right. And therefore, she put herself last, and it has taken me years to overcome that. That it's a huge paradigm shift.
Yeah, because you know what you get when you have a mother who puts herself last? You get a mother that's filled with rage that doesn't get expressed, but it comes out, it ekes out in little ways
and that
your psyche picks up on.
Yeah.
When you're doing things out of resentment, that should be what happens is you start doing everything then. Even the things you would have done willingly, lovingly, freely, you start doing everything out of that resentment mode because you haven't.
Yeah, and before resentment becomes a guilt thing too.
Yes.
My mothers were guilty, they're guilty. And all of that comes because you haven't filled your own cup first.
Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. My name is Tyjuen, and welcome to African American. Hi. Sometimes we are amazed by what human beings can endure. Looking at the life of Miss King, we wonder how she withstood the challenges of raising her children practically alone. The death threats, the bombings, the relentless FBI probes. What motivates a person to find contentment in a life of struggle? as Nelson Mandela did during his nearly 27 years in South African prison. When we watch people fully engage in their purpose, it's confirmation that God has given each of us a destiny. How else could one person be so fascinated by the accuracy of numbers while another is totally obsessed with the accuracy of words? What allows you to have a great interest in some things that bore other people to tears? Why are you able to pick up anything and fix it from the clock of an automobile while other people should be arrested for even picking up a hammer? Why are you able to devote countless hours to reading a book while other people will never know the storyline if not on a video? The gifts or desire that God has wired you to express is unique to you. Others can't understand how you do what you do, but neither can you understand how they act in their gifts. Why do you get angry when you see certain things not done properly? It's your instinct. You are irritated by the fact that you know it could be done better. I remember reading a story about an Olympian who was charged with a serious crime. After he was released on bond, the first thing he did was resume his workout routine. As I was reading his story, I thought, if I were a public microscope for that kind of crime, if I if I were under the public microscope for that kind of crime, no way would I be spending my time working out. But then I considered the fact that this man was a champion athlete, and real champions cannot help but do what they are gifted to do. It is their therapy. It is how they fortify themselves. You are a champion when you overcome adversity and go back to doing what you were doing before. The drive to do what you're good at is instinct. It's what God has created you to do. The kind of instinct given to God's highest creation is is not the same as the instinct that causes a sea turtle to make her way to the ocean shoreline and lay eggs and then return to the sea. Human instinct is action, is a pure joy to behold. It's like a work of art in motion, like watching Michael Jordan dunk a basketball or listening to a hypnotic melody offered by a violin virtuoso. Hi, my name is Tyjuen, and welcome to African American. African American, the album.
Oh, happy day, everyone. Welcome to Jacksonville, Florida. Job Corps. Thank you so much to everyone who was watching. I hope you're ready for an incredible show. Are you ready? I am so ready. I couldn't be readier. Today is going to be an epic, amazing, spectacular day. And isn't it such a great way to celebrate the day? Isn't that right? Well, I used to play the nice guy. You still nice guy. They say that love is for fools, it's a dangerous game. Unable breaking the rules, love. Cause I was sitting open, knowing my heart could be broken. Darling, my love is a token. Yeah. Sticks and stones, hurt harder than they're thrown from no further than your home, sweet home. And it just ain't right if we fight in the sky. There's no one rights to or die. To be hurt, you gotta risk your life. And if the walls don't crumble down, we might just lose it or walk away. There's no danger if you play it safe. There's no anger if you just behave. But if we don't fight for our rights, then it's just like painting in the rain. Walking in slow motion, trying to catch a moving train. Right foot lifted, left foot chained. Eyes wide open, but denying what we see. We might as well be out painted in the rain. To be heard, you gotta risk your life. And if the walls don't crumble down at all, you might just lose it or walk away. There's no danger when you play it safe. There's no anger if you just behave. But if we don't fight for our rights, then it's just like painting in the rain. Walking in slow motion, trying to catch a moving train. While we overdose and just to feel a little pain.
Father, in the name of Jesus, let your anointing saturate this place. Anoint these lips of clay that I might be endowed with the grace that I need to preach the infallible word of God. Bind every spirit and every foul spirit that would hinder the word from having preeminence in this place. In Jesus' name we pray. Somebody shout amen.
Yo, I've been writing songs since the first grade. Been running from the truth since my first fade. To get big stars, it takes big scars. Better get a first aid. Dumb songs are the first play. No heart, but they charting on the first day. How you say brave when they don't you to wear shade? Ones with the talent are the least paid. Anyway, if I had blue button eyes and blonde hair, would I make the magazines on the best page? Be the leading man if I was less gay. If I was a woman, would you try to give me less pay? I could sing for you, but you prefer rap. Ask God why he made me out of burlap, porcelain glass is the hall pass where I'm from. And I don't know about you, but I think that's dumb, 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 dumb. Young girl hustling, way on the other side of the ocean. She can be anything at all in America, America. Young boy hustling, trying to get the wheels in motion. He can be anything at all in America, America, America. Oh, say, can you see? This is the American dream. Oh,
Ooh, ah. My name is Taiwan. Thank you so much for tuning in to talk to African American. Those who sit in the shadow, sun on high, here's the night. Born was the cornerstone. Unto us a son is unto us a child is born. He who is mighty has done a great thing, taken on flesh, conquered death's sting, shattered the darkness and lifted our shame. Holy is his name. Breathe, can finally breathe. Now that it's just you and I, you can lay do the high. We're free. We're finally free. We don't have nothing to hide. It's really did this time. I've been patient, wasn't sure if we'd make it, but I stood right there waiting, holding on to a maybe. You got me floating, now I know where we're going. In the end, it was worth it, 'cause it feels perfect. You're all I need, you're all I want. Here is my heart, here is my love. You're all I need, you're all I want. No matter how long that it took us to get here. left when you're broken. Life will be hurting, but our love is spoken. There's no denying that we got that fire. Take each other higher. We get to take our time. I've been patient. Wasn't sure if we would make it, but I stood right there waiting, holding on to a maybe. You got me floating. I know where we're going. In the end, it was worth it. 'Cause it feels perfect. I need, you're all I want. Here is my heart. Here is my love. Love, you're all I need. You're all I want. No matter how long that it took us to get here. Ooh, ooh.
My name is Tyjuen. Thank you so much for tuning in to African American. I'll see you next time. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video.
Thank you so much for your time.
Chasing dreams. In the same direction. Bye.